Hello, and thank you for joining me. This book, War and Power by Payson O'Brien, is, I think, the most important book I've read this year, and more important than any book I read last year or in the last several years. It's a really, really good book. It's well written, well argued, well researched, and touches on an extremely important point, which is armies aren't winning wars because of tactics or battlefield dominance. The U.S. military, particularly our Army, has the ability to win any battle. Sure, great, but we're not doing so well lately on the war front, are we? So this book addresses that, and we're falling this trap of thinking tactically instead of strategically. And as he makes the case time and time again, the armies and the countries that win wars are thinking strategically, and they're winning on the strategic level, not necessarily the tactical level. In a number of cases, there are militaries that are losing tactically all the time and yet win strategically and win the war. One of the ideas he puts in this book is there's been a mistake in thinking of great powers and failing to realize that not so much. And there's another thing that idiot Messemer, who see the world as, we're going to try again. So he goes through the case against this idea of great powers and really how there are real limitations on what a power can do, and also how small powers or small countries actually have agency and are important to consider and not to be treated as non-player characters, as it were. The last chapter touches on something that I have come to realize is America's true superpower. Yes, we have an awesome military. Yes, we have very advanced technology. Yes, we have a great depth of resources. And all that matters, make no mistake. But as he points out, militaries, armies, countries, states that win wars usually do so because they have a coalition, they have friends. And this is very important on a personal level to have friendships. It's very important on a national level to have friendships. And the policies that China's been pursuing of late, the wolf warrior diplomacy, wait for it, have alienated everyone in their neighborhood. And the only friends they have are North Korea and Russia. Well, we're putting ourselves in that same situation. Our superpower really is the ability to set up coalitions and be the best friend a state can have. And we're throwing this away now. For what? Vanity? Ego? It's a terrible trait. And I'm thinking, contrasting this with a former friend who has systematically ended nearly every friendship he has but one. And I'm relieved to say he will keep that friendship going, because you do need to have friends. But he's thrown over the side a whole bunch of other friendships. And for what? So, why? Well, why don't I particularly miss a friendship? Because he was always that friend who was looking out the side of his eye to make sure that you did more than he did. That is, you visited him more than he visited you. You spent more on dinners and common things than he did. That kind of a thing. And as Payson O'Brien puts it, for quite some time we actually put our friends first. And that's why we had such great friendships. And then about 25 years ago, we set that aside and we started putting ourselves first. And that led to really disastrous policies on the world stage, because we weren't listening to people who actually knew what they're talking about. We were just listening to our own egos. Very ill-advised. He does address the failure of both the Trump and Biden administrations to arm Ukraine, and the profound moral and strategic failure that is. So, War and Power, Payson O'Brien, highly, highly recommend this book. It's not very thick, very well written, incredibly on point, incredibly well done. And that then can bring us to the question of, why am I trying to record in such a terrible environment? Well, a friend asked me not long ago, why or how do I choose the backgrounds for these book reviews? And my response was, if I can get a background or environment that is relevant to the book, I prefer that to simply using my study as a background. And Payson O'Brien went to school back here, and Dr. O'Brien went to school here, And this is where it all started in a way, because he had three teachers who really inspired him to be interested in history and to really start thinking about that. So with that, I will say thank you very much for joining me. Take care. I am so losing the battle on sound here. We've got gentlemen watering a tree, which is God's work. We've got people that have places to go. This is New England. Fair enough. And I don't have a lavalier mic. So I'm trying to rely on a shotgun mic.